Well, ho, 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 everyone. How are you all doing? We have a different type of live stream for today. I know last week was the last one of the season, so we haven't started the new season yet. We're still on the break between season 1 and season 2. I'm going to be getting some things ready to have a great season 2 for all of you. But in the meantime, I felt I was going to do a live stream today anyway, kind of impromptu. I wanted to do a live, kind of a Q&A, because I feel like when I do the live classes, it's great because I can teach you guys about a topic and you guys get to vote on the topics that you want to learn. But in the meantime, I don't get enough interaction with you guys as I'd like. So I felt like between season 1 and season 2, I thought today just seemed like a good day. You know, New Year's coming up soon, and I'm sure a lot of you are still on vacation. So I wanted to do a live, sort of a interactive Korean lesson, or Q&A, I should say, not really a lesson. I don't have any lesson plan prepared for today. But yeah, is it raining? No, it's snowing. It's snowing here. We don't have any special background yet, but I'll get that. Season 2, we will have all new backgrounds. And for right now, though, I do have a new white background, which I've never really used for live streams because I use it for when I film videos. But my friend the other week helped me set up a special, like a system, so I can use my backgrounds more easily. So I ordered a green one, and I'll be using that for next time so we can have some cool backgrounds. So for today, what I'd like to do, it's not really snowing here. I'm in Los Angeles right now, and there's no way we would get snow. No, it's not really snowing here. Just, in this room, localized entirely in this room, but not outside. It doesn't even get that cold here. I think like in my whole life, I've seen snow in Los Angeles 3 times, and it never touched the ground. Like it always just melted right in the air, and you could kind of see a little bit. We've never had snow here. So for today's live stream, I thought that I'd spend just an hour and answer some of your guys' Korean questions. Now, I'll let you know in advance, I'm not going to answer the questions that I've already done live streams on, because I think it would be a waste of our time. But I will let you know that we have a live stream on it already. So for different types of questions that I haven't already done, or just various things that you're curious about, that's what I'd like to do for today. So I'm going to be reading the comments more than I normally would during a regular live stream. Oh, I thought you were on vacation somewhere. No, I'm not on vacation. I have no vacation. I work on this YouTube channel or writing books or projects 7 days a week. I don't really take any days off. Either that or filming videos. Aurora Borealis. Exactly, yes. Superintendent Chalmers. The time you master a language depends on the amount of time you spend learning that language and the effort you put into doing so. Yes, that sounds good. 당신이 좋은 선생님입니다. Okay. For saying you, they don't say you with 당신. You don't need to say the word you in Korean at all. In fact, I'd like to do a live stream on how to say you, because it's such a big topic. But I shouldn't do that today, because that would be way over an hour to talk about how to say you. But I'll say 당신 is not one of the ways that people will say you commonly. It's only used in certain situations. 남칠레. In Chile. Okay, in South Chile, it's snowing. 눈이 오고 있어요. It's snowing a lot here. Canada, there's like two kinds of weather in Canada. Like snowing and hot, I guess. I work with horses 7 days a week. Okay. How long did it take you to become fluent in Korean? I've been studying for over 13 years. Fluent, I guess it depends how you define fluent. Like being able to say anything that I wanted to say in the way that I wanted to say it. I it was over 2 years, I'd say. Maybe almost 3 years or so. Do you film videos on basic sentence structure? I have a live stream on basic sentence structure. How do I use 라고 생각했습니다. I did a live stream about that, how to say to think. So check that one out. You can find the playlist of all the previous live streams on my channel, and I'm also making abridged versions of all of the live streams. So if you watched a live stream or you missed it or whatever, you want to watch a live stream again, you don't have to watch the whole 2-hour-long live stream. I'll be putting up once every other week, so once every 2 weeks, I'll be putting up a shortened version, about 10 to 20 minutes of each of the live streams so that you can watch it really quick. So I've already put up two or three, I think 2. This week there will be another one, and then the next week after that, there will be another one. But it will keep going on for a while because I did a lot of live streams, so it'll take a while to abridge all of those. Steamed hams, but it's a Korean lesson. Yes, please. I have so much confusion about how to say you in Korean. Yeah, I'd like to do that too. Okay, I'll try to read as many comments as I can, but there are a lot of you here, so I apologize in advance if I miss some of your questions. Difference between 진짜 and 정말. I actually just shot a video about that. I just filmed a video about that a couple weeks ago about all of the ways in Korean to say really and very. So there's like 15 or 16 in the video, and they're all common. Not like strange, obscure ways, but common ways. And it also, of course, the very beginning of the video talks about 진짜 and 정말. I think the whole video is like 14 minutes long, but I'm not going to upload it yet. I have to wait because I'm doing the abridged live stream classes, and I don't want to upload those videos instead of my regular weekly videos, like dialect videos or like, general use Korean study videos. But they'll get uploaded. 나는 네가 다른 언어를 배우도록 영감을 받은 것 같다. I think I got inspiration to study other languages. It's not quite right because I'm not sure what you're doing with the 네가 part. Maybe you're talking about like from you. How do you use the 을까 form? Did I do a live stream about that? 을까? Shall we? I'm not sure if I did a live stream about that 을까 form. 유유. 여기 눈이 없어요. Is it mandatory to use particles when speaking? No. Casual Korean will often drop the particles, the topic marker, the subject marker, and should be the other one first, and the object marker. These will often get dropped in casual speech, but in writing, I would recommend always using them. And even if you don't say them, I would recommend always knowing that they should be there. So they're in your head. You just simply don't say them when you're speaking casually. But as a Korean learner, if you don't use these, then you're going to not learn them. And then you will not be able to use them. And then if you tried to use them, they would be wrong. And there would be situations where you have to use them and you would be completely wrong. So you need to know these. So despite Koreans might tell you, or some Koreans might tell you, you don't need to use them when speaking, they'll understand you. That's only true some of the times. You really need to use them until you don't need to use them. And if you know them well, you will know already when you don't need to use them, when it's already clear. So the answer is learn them, use them, and then later you'll know, oh, I see, I don't need to use it here. Then it'll make more sense. But if you just try to say, like, oh, I don't need them anyway, and you don't learn them, you'll actually be wrong. And there are many cases where you do need them. Gamer Lou, would you ever become a one-on-one tutor? That's actually what I was originally going to do today. I was trying to find a student to do one-to-one teaching for today as a live stream in the Discord. But I found a few people, but no one that matched what I was looking for, because I wanted to get someone for the live stream who could have a conversation already. and who was available during this time. So it didn't end up working out. So that's why I decided I'll just do a Q&A instead, since I set everything up anyway. How did you stumble through the first round of non-fluent conversations? Did you have any things you often said or did to smooth over mistakes or better learn from mistakes? A lot of listening, Tessa. My first Korean conversations were like 99% me just listening to them and trying really hard and getting headaches, trying really hard to understand what they are saying, and then replying back with very simple responses like, 네, 네, 네. 그래요? Like, really? Yes, really? Like, really basic things because I couldn't talk. And, but I could kind of understand the gist of what they're saying. And if I didn't understand, I would just ask them, in my best Korean, I could, 뭐라고요? Like, what did you say? 무슨 말이죠? Like, what are you talking about? 뭐라고 했어요? What did you say? And then they'd kind of repeat themselves. But it wasn't a lot of talking in my early Korean conversations. But it was a lot of trying. And I would talk with a lot of people. I had several friends who I would talk with all the time. But I just wasn't able to talk very much. Are there specific levels of respect in Korean I can learn one level at a time? Yes, Valerie, I did a live stream about all of the different... and there's a post as well that Rowan C's put. I also did a live stream about the politeness levels that you can check out as well as that post. Study with B. I know B. She's cool. She actually edited my second and third Korean Made Simple books. So she's really good. She knows her stuff. Why is 어떻게 sometimes translated as what? That's a good question. Why is 어떻게 literally how or in what way? Why is this sometimes translated as what? Because it doesn't mean what. What is in Korean 뭐 or what or other forms like that. But why would 어떻게 be translated as what? Well, it doesn't mean what. It never means what. However, in English, it can translate as what whenever it's used with a thought. For example, most commonly, probably this is exactly how you saw it, is with 생각하다, to think. I'll just write this. This together, 어떻게 생각하세요, literally means how do you think? How do you think? But that's the way that Korean people ask someone what they think. They don't ask them 무엇을 생각하세요? They don't ask people 무엇을 생각하세요? That just means literally, what are you thinking about? Like, what are you thinking about right now? Are you thinking about a different thing? It just sounds really awkward. No, Koreans don't literally ask people what they're thinking. They ask other people how they think about something. So what do you think about that? Right? We say in English, what do you think? Well, in Korean, they say, how do you think? So that's why in English, you might see the translation as what do you think? But it doesn't mean what, literally. It only means how. So the meaning never changes. It still just means how. 어떻게. Good question. Let's see. Juarez, BTS, I love the workbook. Oh, awesome. Thanks. I'm happy to see that some people have gotten it. It just came out. I'm actually going to do another small update of the book in a week or so. Some people found some small typos, which is natural because, every book starts out like that. But it's good. But a few people found a couple tiny typos, so I'm going to do another fix in a couple weeks as well for that. Or next week probably. And I'm just happy to see when people have gotten the workbook already because I just released it and I was really worried. Like, is anyone going to get this? Does anyone actually want this kind of thing? I really like to have Korean friend which can help me during my study. Can you recommend me, please? Use the app Hello Talk or the app Tandem, and you can find plenty of Korean pen pals, especially if you're attractive, to be honest. If you're not, then you have to talk with more people. But I'm saying if you happen to be attractive, this is just how the app works. It's easy to find people to practice with. Or be funny. Try to show them who you are and be really nice. They're looking for friends. What kind of person would you want to be friends with in Korean? Think about that. Like, who would you want to message? What kind of profiles would you want them to have? So try to make an interesting profile. Just put yourself out there, be friendly and happy. Use your best photo. And yeah, you'll be able to find tons of Korean pen pals. You'll have an unlimited supply of Korean pen pals if you do that. Where am I able to buy your book? You can find it on my website. It's also directly on Amazon. Book Depository has it right now, and Book Depository ships to nearly like every country for free. Does Duolingo work? I've never used it. I haven't heard good things about it though, but I've never used it. There might be a video on it already. Yes, Sam Strongarm. There are actually 2 videos on the didnt ending, but more so there's a live stream about it. And I also did a abridged live stream about the didnt ending. I'm not sure if I uploaded that yet. But yeah, there is a live stream about the didnt ending, which would be much better to watch because it's not such a it takes a while to explain, so I wouldn't be able to do it here really quickly. Have you tried the app Language Drops? Nope, I've never heard of it. It is 어떻게 when it's translated as what do I do? It is shortened 어떻게 해. Yeah, 어떻게 for like what do I do is not the exact same as 어떻게 해. It's similar though, but it's not just that. But yes, you can think of it as that though. It's fine. Let's see. Do you recommend changing the language in your phone to learn a language? It wouldn't hurt. It wouldn't hurt, but I don't think it's going to help that much because the vocabulary that you'll learn from putting your phone into Korean is not the vocabulary you need as a beginner. It's vocabulary that you would need as an advanced learner. If you already can speak the language and you're like, I'm just missing something, I just need a little bit more, then you can change the language. But do you really need to know the Korean word for brightness setting or localization and regional options? Like, no, you don't. That's not going to really helpful. Or like, battery usage, battery monitor, optimize my phone's performance, right? Do you really need that stuff as a beginner? No, not at all. So it's not going to hurt, but it's really not going to be helpful as a beginner. So I know a lot of beginners do that kind of like, I changed my Windows operating system to Korean or my Mac to Korean language. It's a nice, bonus thing to do, but it's not going to help that much. Now, how do you say, now that's really interesting? Do you say 관심 or 재미? Okay, good question. Well, you probably asked that because you know the word 관심 means an interest, or just means it just means interest, doesn't mean a interest. So this means interest, as in I am interested. And they use it 관심 with the subject marker 이, which they might or might not use, and then 있다, to exist. So literally, interest exists or I am interested. 관심 있어요. Like I am interested. 네. You can say like if someone asks, are you interested? You can say 네. 관심 있어요. 네, 관심 있어요. Yes, I am interested. But this does not mean interesting. It just means interest. Like I have an interest in something, or I am interested in that. Interesting, actually, there's a bunch of different ways you could say it in Korean. Standard way, probably the way that you would like to, that would be most useful to you, would be with 재미. 재미 though is more like a something that's entertaining. So an entertainment something. So for entertainment purposes. So they would use it as 재미가, which is again often not used. The subject marker is not used here, but 재미있다, to exist. So entertainment or fun exist. And this is the word they use for both something being fun or entertaining or interesting. Like, 재미있네요. Hey, that's interesting. That's cool. That's fun. That's entertaining. Like if you saw a movie and you liked the movie, you would say 재미있어요. 재미있었어요. It was entertaining. It was fun. It was interesting, like that. There's other words you can use for interesting, but this is probably the one that you'd want to use if you're expressing that you're like, wow, that's interesting. Oh, it's interesting, like that. If you want to say, interesting, this is not the one you would use, but this is the one you're going to be using most of the time you're trying to translate interesting into English. Let's check here the chat. can you explain the difference between 고마워 and 감사합니다? Well, just one thing is that those are completely different politeness levels, but so 고마워 is only casual speech, so that's something you'd only use with your close friends who are also the same age as you and close with you and or younger than you and your friends. So you're not going to use 고마워 to a stranger. You're not going to use 고마워 to someone older than you or in a work situation, only in casual situations with your friends who are the same age as you or younger. And 감사합니다 is polite. It's a very formal phrase. You're not going to use that with your friends ever. You would only use that with people who are not close with you and who are, well, yeah, I would just say that. People who are not close with you, whether they're older or younger than you. But especially if they're older than you, you need to use 감사합니다. That's polite. But if we go back to the actual words, where they come from, 고맙다 and 감사하다, these are the original verbs. And they both mean to be thankful, but they're used slightly differently. Of these two, 고맙다 is slightly less formal. So 감사하다 is slightly more formal than 고맙다. As such, you'll often see 감사하다 used in more formal conjugations. So you'll see 감사해요 and 감사합니다. Right? But you're not going to see 감사해 or just 감사. Oh yeah, 감사. Some people just say 감사 as a joke, but you're not going to see 감사해 because this form as is a more formal sounding form. So you could say 감사해요 or 감사합니다, but you're not going to say 감사해 because it's already formal. And 감사해 would be casual. So it's kind of like a formal word mixing with casual slang. It sounds quite awkward in Korean if you use it in any other way. Whereas 고맙다 can be used as casual, 고마워. It can be used as slightly polite, 고마워요, or 고맙습니다. 고맙습니다 as formal. Well, this is a formal ending now. So you can use 고마워, 고마워요, or 고맙습니다. They all sound okay. But this form is often used more in casual situations or less formal situations, and 감사하다 is used in more formal situations. So if you have to compare 감사합니다 and 고맙습니다, of these two, 감사합니다 is slightly more formal. So if you were to say thank you to your boss, or thank you in a letter, or thank you to in some sort of official situation, like, you're giving a speech or whatever, always 감사합니다. But if you wanted to thank the bus driver, 고맙습니다 is totally fine. So that's the difference. Did I just hear a cat in the background? No, I don't have any cats here. I have 2 cats at my mom's house that I see often whenever I go to her house. Maybe about once a week I stop by there. They're really cute. But I don't have any at this place. Can't you say 흥미로워요 to mean interesting? Yes, 흥미롭다 is to be interesting. That's more of like a intriguing. That's interesting. Like that piques my interest. That kind of meaning of interest. That's the other way. Yes. Most of what I saw is you need to pay to be able to learn. No, all of my video stuff is free. Everything that I've done here for live streams and videos on this channel have been free. Everything. The only stuff I even have I know Mia Nations asked, the only stuff that I have that's paid are my printed textbooks and the PDF version of that printed textbooks. But I don't have any other paid material. I even have a free Korean typing game you can download. The audio files for the book are free as well. Yeah, everything's free except the paid books. 흥미롭다? Yes. CJT. 흥미롭다 is more like describing a book. Storyline. Yes, that's right. Something that piques your interest. Like, wow, that's interesting. Not like, oh, it was an interesting movie. Not like that. It would sound a bit awkward. 고민 and 걱정. Oh, that's another good question. Oh, Rowan sees, you said, yeah, if people are asking while I'm answering. Yeah, I'm trying to read the chat, though, more than often for today. So, and I'm trying to focus on quick questions that I can do. That way I can make sure to read more of your questions. Oh, also Samantha Schmitz asked, what form of speech would I use for a friend that is 7 years older? He told me he doesn't care if I use informal language to practice him. Yes, if if you have permission. Okay, wait, let me first write the other question so I don't forget. As far as the official reason is, in Korea, if you're friends with someone, if they're older than you, you still have to speak politely to them. That means you cannot use 너, or you, like that. You also can't use the ya endings. You should use yul form normally. But as a non-Korean, if you become close with a Korean, they often will give you permission because they feel like, you're from a foreign culture. They don't want to make you adjust yourself to their culture. So they might say, oh, just speak casually to me. It's totally okay. Just speak 반말, right? Casual Korean. 반말, literally half speech. This is just the word for casual speech in Korean. And normally you can only use casual speech when you're talking with your close friends who are the same age as you or younger. But if someone's much older than you, and if they give you permission to speak to them using this, or to speak with them in casual, do it. You're fine. You can totally speak to them casually. But only in private. So they probably didn't think about this, but if you go out in public and you're with other people, don't use this to them because it could be, depending on who you're with, the other people could see it as strange. Like, say, for example, you are friends with I am 32, okay? I'm 32. Am I 32? I think I'm 30. Yeah, I'm 32. So say I meet a friend who's 45, okay? And he tells me, hey, Billy, you can talk with me casually if you want. And I'm like, oh, okay, sure, let's speak casually. So we speak casual. Now I go out to meet his friends. And some of his friends are also 45. And some of his friends are 30. And his 30-year-old friends are talking to my friend politely with yul form. And I'm here speaking to that friend using casual. It kind of sounds like I'm being disrespectful. Like, my friend won't think that so much, but the other people might think, who's this foreigner being really disrespectful to my hyung, to my older friend? So it's best to do it just in private when you have permission, when other people aren't really paying attention to it. And then when other people are around and they might be paying attention, then you should go back and speak politely. It's kind of you have to kind of balance on that. Like, it's not so cut and dry. But in general, if someone gives you permission, they mean it. They're not just saying that because they don't want you to feel uncomfortable. They actually mean they would like to speak more casually with you. And sometimes that's happened to me. Sometimes the people will tell me like, hey, just speak casually to me. We've known each other for a few months. It's okay. Even it's because I'm not a Korean that they'll do that. If I was a Korean, they wouldn't do that to me unless we had been friends for a very long time. Let's see. And I also answer this question too. It's loud outside. Okay. 이 어때요라는 표현을 어떻게 쓸 수 있나요? 어때요? William Kelly. That's just when you're asking how something is. Like, how is it? What do you think? How is it? 어때요? How is it? That's it. There's nothing complicated to it. Let's see. 제, 걔, 얘, he, she, and for his or her. Yes, it can be used for both. Okay, so someone asked about 고민 and 걱정. These are also very easy to tell the difference. Both of these mean worry or a concern. But they're used slightly differently because you will not use 걱정 at all when you would use 고민, and you would not use 고민 when you could use 걱정, or vice versa. So these you shouldn't be you shouldn't get these confused at all. They're actually very different. 걱정 is a legitimate concern. Like, you are legitimately worried. Like, oh my, oh no, what's gonna happen? What do I do? I don't know. I'm really worried. 걱정. Whereas 고민 is like, I'm really wondering what should I eat for dinner. I'm wondering what I should wear. Where should I go? I'm thinking about, should I do my hair like this? It's more things that aren't serious. So this would be more like thinking about, wondering. In English, we would say wondering, but it doesn't really mean wondering. There's different ways to say you're actually wondering, thinking about something. But this is the way that in English we would say we're concerned about something small, like really, really wondering. I guess you can think of it as really wondering. Really, I'm concerned about that, right? Whereas the 걱정 is actually like a real worry. So don't use 걱정 about what you should eat for dinner. If you say, oh, I'm wondering, I'm really 걱정 about what I should eat for dinner, that's like, if you eat the wrong thing, you're going to die or get sick. Like that's what they would interpret it as. And if you said you're really 고민 about some serious issue, well, I'm really 고민 about my cat has cancer. It's like, are you 고민 which vet you should take him to, or whether you should even get him healed, or if it's a girl cat, she. So yeah, they're very different uses. So don't get those confused. And both of these are used with just 하다, 걱정하다, and 고민하다. Mariana Cavalcante. I see you've asked this a few times. What's the difference between 마침내, 드디어, and 결국? I'll focus on the difference between 마침내. I think is quite different usage, but 드디어 and 결국, these are the ones that are often mixed up. So I'll do these to keep it simple, because that way everyone can benefit from this. 드디어 and 결국 both mean finally. But I wouldn't translate 결국 as finally in any situation. If you search the dictionary, you'll find that 결국 also says finally as its translation, but it's not. It doesn't have that use. It means ultimately, or in the end, or ended up, right? In English, you might say ended up doing something like that, often used with 결국. 결국 just means in the end, finally, as in that kind of finally, like in the end, after everything was said and done, 결국. Whereas 드디어 just means finally, after a long time. So you would say, 드디어, I finally passed my test. Or 드디어, school's over. 드디어, Billy's new book came out, right? But you wouldn't say 결국, Billy's book came out, unless you were saying like, 결국, Billy's book came out. It finally, in the end, ultimately, it ended up coming out. I didn't think it would, but in the end, the book came out. So that's the different meaning, that's the different connotation that these words have. Although they both seem to have the meaning of finally, only 드디어 is actually going to be ever translated as finally. 결국, though, is difficult to translate because we don't really use the word ultimately often in English, which is what makes 결국 confusing and difficult to translate. I think the best way to translate 결국 is like in the end. So like, oh, in the end, 결국, something like that. Okay. Why do they use 고민 in the variety show? Because they're saying the same thing, a concern. That's the exact meaning of it. Angela, how would you say you formally? I answered that question, kind of. I said that I'll do a live stream about how to say you in the future, because that's a big topic. I'm surprised. I have right now we have 188 viewers just for a Q&A live stream. That's nice. Billy, what's the difference between ane and 소개? Actually, Talk to Me in Korean has a great video on this. I think their video is quite long, but it goes over all of the major differences. But they're used completely differently. But I would recommend watching Talk to Me in Korean's video for a more detailed explanation, because this live stream I don't have enough time to go in depth to anything. But ane and 속, these both mean inside, but this is a 속 is more like within, like deep within. So this is 속 is used in like inside of a forest, like deep within the forest. Or it's also used metaphorically. Metaphorically, like 마음속, inside my heart, deep within my heart. As in surrounded by So 속 would be like you're in the center here, right? And you're surrounded by something else. So if you're in your 마음 속, your heart 속, you're inside your heart and your heart is surrounding it, your body's surrounding it. If you're within the forest, trees are surrounding you. That's kind of the difference between of 속. Whereas 안에 is just a literal, what am I doing? It's just a literal meaning of inside. So if you said 마음 안에, it means like inside of your heart, like just literally inside of your heart. If you said 안에 for like a forest, it's just somewhere in the forest. Doesn't mean necessarily surrounded by trees or inside the forest. Usually this is like inside of an object. So you might say inside of a box, inside of a room, like that. So that's the main difference. But Talk to Me in Korean has a video that goes more in depth and gives some good examples as well. So check that out. I think if Talk to Me in Korean has a good video on a subject, I usually try not to do it again. Unless I think I could do it better. I don't advise one would study 8 hours, but 2 hours at least, twice a day with breaks. Yeah, I think 8 hours a day if you really want it, but then you don't have to ask people about that. If you have to ask someone, do you think I should study 8 hours a day? You shouldn't. Because I did that, and that's only because I really wanted that, but I can't imagine many people wanting that amount of study. It's just ridiculous, and you would get burned out and you would give up because you wouldn't be able to stay focused or keep learning for that amount of time. Is there a Korean version of the conditional text? What do you mean? I don't quite understand your question, the rookie road. 심장 is your literal heart. That's right. 심장 is your literal heart. 마음 is more like your heart, like your feelings, your mind, right? It's like inside of you, your true feelings, your 마음. 마음속, within my heart. Hi, Billy. What is 계속? 계속 is an adverb that means continually or keep doing something. So 계속하다 means to keep doing. 하다, just to do. 계속 먹다, keep eating, like that. I'm doing the 5-minute a day thing with Korean and Chinese. That's difficult to do 2 languages at once. 8 hours a day would be impossible with work. Yes, it would be impossible while working. Are you making more workbooks? Connor asked. No, not right now. I wanted to make the first one, and I'll see how it goes. If people like it, then I'll see next year how the sales go. The reason is because the workbook took me 14 months to write. I'll just say 12 months because 2 of those months I was in Korea, but 12 months straight to write. And it was a lot of work. So I have to see that people actually want the workbooks. Then I can make more. But the next project I'm doing is a different book. So we'll probably see that first. The nga form is quite confusing to me. Giorgio Siafi, are you talking about the plain question form? Like 한가, 먹는가, like that one? Or I'm not, if you're talking about something else. You didn't even say, there are several ways you could say something like that. But if you want to say you didn't even say sorry, it would just use the regular quoting form, which is plain form plus 고 말하다, to say. 말 is optional. So you can say 미안하다. Since it's a descriptive verb, it just is 미안하다. You don't have to conjugate it. 미안하다 is the plain form of 미안하다, to be sorry, since it's a descriptive verb. 미안하다고 말하지. So 말하지 않았어요 would by itself mean you didn't say. 않았어요. 미안하다고 말하지 않았어요 means you did not say sorry. But if you want to say you did not even say sorry, you did not even say, you can just attach 도, which means even here. So you can say 미안하다고 말하지 도. So you didn't say, not just you didn't say, but you didn't even say sorry. 미안하다고 말하지도 않았어요. 미안하다고 말하지도 않았어요. You didn't even say you're sorry. Or literally, you did not even say sorry. This form confuses me because I notice it appears with multiple uses. If you show me which one you're talking about, I might be able to answer that. When would you use Chinese counting numbers? Angela, I did a live stream about Korean numbers, so check that one out. I explained that. There are many, many cases when you'll use one over the other. After Korean Made Simple, read actual books in Korean. After Korean Made Simple 3, that's kind of the reason I stopped at number 3, was because I felt 3 was enough. After 3, you can do anything you want. That doesn't mean you're fluent after 3. It means after 3, you have enough grammar to go and specialize in whatever you want. So after 3, you could say, oh, I'm going to go start watching some Korean dramas now. And you could start watching dramas. You wouldn't understand everything. It wouldn't be at that level yet. But you'd be able to then learn those new forms as you see them because you'll have experience with most of the major grammar forms. So after 3, I would say read books, watch shows, listen to more music, study with other resources. So you could pick up any textbook, any level you want, and start using that for studying. That's kind of the nice thing about the intermediate level, is that when you're at a true intermediate level, you can do anything you want. You're not restricted to following a curriculum at that level. That's when you can actually go and study by yourself, and it can actually be effective. Whereas as a beginner, it's really hard to study by yourself because you don't know what you should learn in what order, and you end up learning lots of random phrases here or there, and you don't get any structure. So it would be really hard to get to an intermediate level without some sort of structure. But beyond the intermediate level, you're usually good. You can use anything you want. Billy, does adding K after a descriptive verb have a different meaning, or it just changes it to an adverb? Mainly, it just changes it to an adverb. There's some different grammar forms that use K together with other verbs to do specific things. One of them is K 되다, which is actually the video that I'm going to be uploading in a couple weeks. I made a video about that as well. But literally, yes, adding K to a descriptive verb just makes it into an adverb, is one of the ways to make it into an adverb. There's another way, but that's the one that you can do consistently, is by adding K. The other way would be memorizing the exact alternate form of the adverb for every descriptive verb, because some descriptive verbs have 2 ways that they can change into an adverb, and you just have to memorize those separately. But K will always still work as a way to make it into an adverb. So if you have let's see. I'll just do a simple one. 빠르다, to be quick. Then you can remove the end. This is a descriptive verb. You can add 빠르게. Now you have quickly, an adverb. So that's all there is to it. Would you be able to say what Talk to Me in Korean level the books might correspond with? That I wouldn't know because I didn't use the Talk to Me in Korean lessons to learn Korean. When I started my YouTube channel, actually, when I first saw Talk to Me in Korean's YouTube, at that point I was already fluent in Korean, so I wasn't using any online resources. I was using just physical books. So I'm not sure what level it would correspond with. But maybe someone else who's done both can tell me. Let me know. I'd be curious. Let's see. Ever thought about making a phrase book? No. I don't think phrase books are so useful personally. I think that they encourage people to not study Korean and for lack of better way to say it, I think a lot of phrase books are kind of like, they sell the fantasy of speaking Korean through phrases. But in order to actually use most of the phrases in Korean phrase books, there are some exceptions, types of phrases that are always useful, like 감사합니다 is always useful whether you speak Korean or not. You can still say that. But a lot of the phrase books, in order to use that stuff, you have to actually already have a Korean conversational ability. You have to actually be able to speak Korean to use the phrases in a phrase book effectively. Because, for example, you might read a phrase book and it has a simple phrase like 날씨가 좋아요. The weather is nice. 오늘 날씨가 아주 좋아요. The weather is very nice today, right? And so think about how would you actually use that to someone? So you would walk around, you see someone on the street, you make friends with them, and you're like, oh, I want to practice my Korean. 날씨가 아주 좋아요. Okay, what are they going to say to that? they might say, oh yeah, 네, 아주 좋아요. Yes, I agree, or something like that. You're not going to understand a single word that they say. So the phrase book is useless, essentially. If another phrase might be something like, 화장실이 어디 있어요? Like, where is a bathroom? 화장실 어디 있어요? Where's a bathroom? And they might go, 저쪽으로, 저거 막, 가면은, 왼쪽으로 가면은 있거든요. They might say something like, you go way over there. You know, you ask an old guy, over there, and you go to the left, and it's there. You're not going to understand a single word that they said. All you're going to see is him or her pointing. The phrase book would be useless. So I don't want to do a phrase book because I think it's really, there aren't enough words that you can use without being able to speak Korean that would be effective to know. So the phrase book might have all the colors in Korean. That's great. When could you use them? Like when you're shopping for a bag, you might say, oh, I want this bag. I want a red bag. And then the shop owner would say, 지금 빨간색이 없거든요. They might tell you, we don't have any red right now. You're not going to understand what they said. So that phrase book is now useless. So it's every situation a phrase book is going to be useless. Unless you can already have Korean conversations, then a phrase book is useful to supplement what you know. So you might know all of the colors already, kind of, but then you can check a phrase book to see, oh yeah, that's that color. I see, I forgot that one. And then use it. Then it's useful. But for beginners, it's completely useless. So I don't want to sell that fantasy to you guys. I think it's kind of like a lie, that type of thing. Like you can't use Korean through a phrase book unless you already know Korean. Then it's useful. And that was a really long tangent. Okay. Billy Ajay impression, yeah. How to ask someone if they have a spare cook. I didn't see that, got deleted. I think verb books with more useful conjugation is better. Yeah, like not to say that phrase books are useless, but to beginners, they're useless. So they have use. And I used a phrase book for Japanese because I already spoke intermediate level Japanese when I was visiting Japan. But there were still some phrases I wasn't sure the best way to ask them. So the phrase book was really useful for me because I could check and I'm like, oh, that's how I should ask it. And when they replied, I could understand them. I just wasn't confident enough to make those sentences myself otherwise. So yeah, it helped. But if I was doing that as a beginner, it would have been useless. LR Pan, what's the difference between mani and manan? That's a good question. Mani and manan. First of all, mani is not pronounced as manhi. Due to sound change rules, it's just pronounced as mani. So you could just say it as mani. You don't need to say manhi. That would be wrong. As is manan. It's also ma-nun, not manhun. So this is due to sound change rules. I did a live stream about sound change rules also, if you're curious about them. But mani is an adverb, which means it comes directly before an action verb or descriptive verb. And just a verb, any verb. I don't need to write it like that. You know, any verb. It comes before any verb. So that's why it's called an adverb. It gets added to a verb, always directly before. So you can say, 많이 추워요. It's very cold. Or 많이 먹어요. I eat a lot. 많이 just literally means many. So it's actually very easy to memorize because it literally the meaning sounds like what the Korean, 많이, many, many, many. Anyway, 많은, it comes from the original same verb, but it seems like it would be the same thing, but 많은 is an adjective. And you know how to use an adjective is directly before a noun. So if it comes before a verb, use 많이. And if it comes before a noun, use 많은. For example, you might say many people. 많은 사람. 많은 사람들. Or something like that. Many people. 사람 would be a noun. But you wouldn't say 많은 있어요 because 많은 is an adjective. It comes before a noun. If you want to say there are a lot, there are very many, you would use 많이 and then 있어요, there are, or to exist, right? So that's the difference. 많이 is an adverb and comes before a verb, and 많은 is an adjective and comes before only a noun. To be honest, asking a Korean would be the best way to pick out what's wrong. Yeah, as a beginner, you don't have any way to know yourself yet. So you have to ask Koreans for help. Let's see. If I use your books from 1 to 3 in the workbook, what level would I be? A lot of people ask me this, and it would be depending on how well you know the material in the books. That's the most important thing. Oh. BAM. Where's BA? What is BAM? Irina Kovacevic. Is that Russian? Irina. What is BA? What is BAM? Bam! 20 BAMs! Irina Kovacevic. I've said this before, but is that Russian? I don't know. I don't even know what BAM is. BAM, Bosnia. Bosnia. How much is 20 Bosnia? I don't know what that means. Because I have the other guy sometimes donating like 400 what is it, Argentina pesos. Bosnian. Close to 10 euros. Oh wow, that's awesome. But thank you, Irina. Is that Russian? I have to ask. Love from Bosnia. After knowing how to read Hangul, what can I do after that? How do I keep studying? Jungkook is my bae. How much is 20 Bosnia? Jungkook is my bae for after learning Hangul, you want to start with any curriculum. So I have my books, but you can also use free books free lessons from Talk to Me in Korean. There's many websites out there you can use. If you just search Learn Korean Free, you'll find many different books out there. There's some free textbooks you can even find. Mine aren't free, but there are other free ones. And you can just use any sort of curriculum. But the point is to learn from a curriculum because it's a bunch of lessons that are in order. Like learn this, then this, then this. That way each lesson you learn will only have concepts from things that you would have already studied before. That way you can keep going up and up and up. If you just do random lessons, some lessons will require different knowledge you didn't learn and not explain that, which is normal because they don't know what your level is exactly. So learn from a curriculum. That way you can go up the stairs as fast as possible. Otherwise, you're going to be like climbing really slowly. Yeah, Bosnia. I don't know too much about geography. Let's see. I'm at the beginner level, but I feel stuck and like I'm not going in. Bury my jam. That's probably due to self-studying without a curriculum. So that's what happens when you're self-studying without a curriculum. Let me make a drawing for you. So say you're self-studying, right? You don't have a curriculum. So you learn this concept A, and then you learn this concept Z, and then you learn this concept F, and then you learn like half of E. Okay, so you have all these various concepts, and you feel like I'm just on the floor. I don't know what I'm doing. And then you go back and you learn F, and someone teaches it a different way. So now you have like a different version of F. So this is F2. So you have all these different forms, and you're like, what do I do with this? And you'd keep learning, and you're always at the ground. You might slowly get better. Maybe the next day you'll learn B someday, and then C. But then you learn D from a random website that teaches it a different way, and you don't quite get it. It doesn't attach. So you're still on the floor. Whereas if you have any curriculum, so this is not an advertisement for my books. This is just an advertisement for any curriculum. A curriculum does this. A curriculum teaches you A, then it teaches you what it thinks is B. Okay? It might not be the best B. Maybe this B should have been later on, but whatever. It connects everything. So it doesn't matter if it teaches you now Z. Maybe it was wrong. It shouldn't teach you that. It doesn't matter. It will connect Z with B and A, so it will feel like it's connected. You'll have a connection with everything else you're learning. The vocabulary that you learn in B and Z will have been covered in A. And if you learn, say, next you learn C. If you learn C, you'll only have vocabulary and grammar that you've already learned from A, B, and Z or whatever. And then, I'm kind of putting Z here because I think sometimes curriculums present things in different orders. And there's no right answer. But they all connect it. They all do a good job at connecting things together, no matter what order they're taught in. And eventually, you'll get up. You'll keep going. you'll keep improving because everything is connected to each other. Whereas if you just learn regular lessons, you might have some stuff that's connected, like from maybe a long lesson that teaches, everything about this one concept, and you think, oh, okay, I got that. But everything else is still unconnected. Maybe in lesson Z, there's some vocabulary words that you've never seen, as well as a grammar form that you never learned before, and it doesn't explain it properly, so you can't really connect it. So you'll know all these random grammar forms, but you will not be able to connect them together and use them. So that's why curriculum is always better. Once you've reached a certain level, like say once you get to an intermediate level, you can stop and then do anything else you want at that point. But in order to first get to a good solid level, you need a curriculum to take you up here, or else you could stay in this level forever and keep learning everything and only slowly progress. Whereas a curriculum will take you up there right away. So like with a curriculum or class, same thing, or private tutor if you have a lot of money, you could get to an intermediate level Korean in, 6 months, or, it's quite a short amount of time. But doing it by yourself, you could be stuck for 2-3 years doing random lessons and never reach an intermediate level. Even though you've learned concepts that the intermediate person never learned, you still are not able to use those. You don't have any connection with them. Let's see. Billy has a video about finding your level. Yeah, I have a video about that too. I have a video about pretty much everything that people have asked. And if I don't have it yet, I've either already filmed it and haven't uploaded it, or I'm planning it right now. Does Korean use commas? Lynn, yes, Korean uses commas, but not quite like English uses commas. Koreans will use commas more like we use periods at the end of a sentence. So, and this is casual usage, okay? Not for official usage. Koreans will still use commas when breaking up very long sentences, but you don't need them in Korean like you do in English. In English, we put commas before things like and but, because they're clearly two different sentences, so it helps us tell it apart. But in Korean, they don't need commas after something like jiman, but, or ko, these forms, or ninde. They don't need commas after those because these forms only mean and or but. Whereas in English, and can also mean like A and B. But could be A but not B, right? They can have other uses besides just showing that there's a new sentence starting. But in Korean, it's not necessary to use commas in these situations. They might use commas for a list, right? You're listing a bunch of different items. And in casual usage in Korean, often commas will be used at the end of a sentence completely, kind of like just how we would use a period. But that's not the official usage, but that's how you'll often see it. So quick answer to your question is, no, Koreans don't really use commas, at least not in the way that we know it, not in the way that we use it in English. Let's see. Nihonjin desu ka? Is Giorgio a Japanese person? Let's see. What's the difference between kesso and shippo? Kesso is, those are unrelated forms. If someone asks a question like about two things that are completely unrelated, I'm always curious where they found those two forms, where they got confused at those forms by, because those forms have absolutely no connection to each other whatsoever. So Safia, I'm curious, Safia with 5 zeros, I'm curious where you saw those two forms that would make you confused. In what context did those two forms confuse you? Because they absolutely have no relation to each other. David D, are we going to get Korean Made Simple number 4? Probably not. No, I'd like to keep 3rd, the last one, and then instead of a Korean Made Simple 4, I'm making other books for intermediates. So there will be more stuff to do after Korean Made Simple 3 that I'm making, but not a Korean Made Simple 4. I think 3 is good enough for that type of book. I'm very happy with how books 1, 2, and 3 turned out and how they're organized, and I got to teach everything I really wanted to. What books or novels do you recommend in Korean? No. I would say if you have nothing that you're interested in specifically, then read news articles. But if you have a book genre that you like some people read Harry Potter, read whatever it is that you want to read if you're an intermediate level. If you're not an intermediate level, though, it's going to be very difficult to get anything out of reading books in foreign languages. But for intermediate levels, I would say read whatever book you want to read. That could be, it doesn't have to be a textbook. It can be a completely, fiction novel or comic book even, or anything like that. You can have anything you want at that level. Hi, Billy. How do I ask for permission in Korean? Do I use any connector? For example, can I go to the bathroom? I could do this as a separate live stream, but I'll just answer this one question. So, and to ask for permission in Korean, it's very simple. You first make the yo form, but you remove the yo. So you do basic conjugation with a verb. So, 하다 becomes 해, 가다 is just 가, 먹다 is 먹어. So you do the standard conjugation that you do with any verb for using it in the yo form or many other forms in Korean. Use just standard conjugation. So you first do that, and then you attach do. 먹어. In the 6-course book I use with my tutor, the dialogues have become so fast that my brain can't keep up. How do I practice listening comprehension? The book could be too advanced if that's the case. Like it might have been a big jump from the 5th to the 6th book. That's my guess. If you were able to keep up with the 5th book, but now the 6th book you can no longer keep up at all, it might be too big of a jump to go to the 6th book. But if you feel like otherwise it's still okay, you'll have to just listen to the same thing multiple times. So that's what I did when I was studying Cantonese, which I did for like 1 month, but I think I did really good for 1 month, is listen to the same dialect multiple times until you can understand it again. So read it first, make sure you understand it by reading it, and then listening to it after that, and then listening to it again while reading it, and then listening to it again without reading it until you're able to understand it without reading it. It just takes a lot more listening to do that and a lot more effort. But that's the only thing I can offer. Is it's probably too big of a jump from 5 to 6. But if you want to keep going with it, listen to it more. So back to the question someone had asked, how do I ask for permission? You take the yo form. So let's do 2. 하다 and 가다. So 하다 for to do and 가다 for to go. So 하다 would become 해 and 가다 is just 가. So we attach 도. And then you add the verb 되다, to be okay or to be acceptable, and then you conjugate it. So 되다 would become 돼요. This is the most standard way. 가도 돼요. Literally it means, is it acceptable even if, this 도 means even, is it acceptable even if I go? Is it acceptable even if I do it? Or we would just say in English, can I do it? Can I go? That's the only form there is to it. There's different ways to conjugate 되다. Another common way you might see it is 될까 or 될까요? 될까요? 해도 될까요? 가도 될까요? And that's more of a polite way. That's kind of more like saying, would it be okay? Would it? Not can I, but could I, right? So instead of 해도 돼요, can I do it? Is it okay if I do it? You're asking, could I do that? Would it be okay if I did that? So it's slightly more polite, but that's another common way you might see it. And we could go into detail, but not for today. Okay. What part of speech are counters like 명, 분? Technically, those would be counters, so you don't need to use them as anything other than as counters. But they work like nouns. The way that they work is like nouns. They're just not used like nouns. They're, what would be the word? Dependent nouns. They need to be used together with something. You can't just say 명 or 분 by itself. It's only used in conjunction with some sort of adjective, some sort of modifier. Oh, Ibrahim Abdallah. Awesome. Thanks for the pound. Ibrahim. Oops. Him, not ham. I was thinking of ham. I was getting hungry. But it should be Ibrahim. Thanks, man. Billy, how do I not lose interest when studying alone, since it's really hard to stay focused on what you shouldn't be studying alone. That's the trick, is that you should have pen pals. You should have Korean friends. Whether you're in the beginning levels, if you can't speak any Korean yet, you should at least have Korean friends who you can share your hardships with and talk about things with in Korean. But you shouldn't be doing it completely alone. I think it is very difficult to stay motivated and to stay focused, even more than motivated. Let's see, do you have any advice for overcoming the fear of practicing Korean with other people? Abigail, as someone who also overcame that, as someone who also struggled a lot with that, the only thing I can tell you is talk louder, pretend you're more confident than you are, and speak more Korean. But there is no trick to getting better at like public speaking, right? Social anxiety. The trick to getting better at that type of thing is to do it more. And that's the hard thing to do. That you're afraid of doing something, and how do you get over it? Well, you have to do it anyway. Yeah, some things I'm still not good at. I'm still not good at talking on the phone. I still avoid calling people on the phone. I still hate it, even though I've done that a lot. But with Korean, that's something that I got better at by doing it a lot. So I was also very afraid of talking in Korean in public or even live streaming like this. Before I did my live streams, there's like maybe 2 years ago, there'd be no way I would consider doing a live stream. I'd be much too nervous to do that. So you just have to do it more to get over it. So talk louder. It also helps to kind of help you feel like you're confident, even if you're not. Drink something, kind of give yourself energy. So I just have caffeine, helps give yourself energy and confidence. And just fake it until you make it. But there really isn't a trick other than that. So kind of make yourself feel like you're more confident and just doing it more. Batman wrote, I still have not been able to read the Korean after endless of hours of watching your videos. Give me a refund. I just saw Batman's comment from earlier. That's funny. But yeah, you won't be able to read Korean if you only know the alphabet. Like if I did a video just teaching like the English alphabet, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, whatever. And then if you were to try to read a Shakespeare novel, you wouldn't understand anything, right? All I've taught is the alphabet itself. Now you have to learn the language. So apologies, Batman, if you are really Batman. But send me an email. I'll make sure to give you a refund for your time watching my videos, watching my free videos. Bisaromi, hey Billy, what tense is the ırke form? Is it just future tense? Oh, Bisaromi, I did a live stream about this. That was in my future tense live stream. But it is a future tense. It is a form of future tense. And here's an intermediate tip. So for those of you who are intermediates who are watching, anytime you see a grammar form that uses this, so not the object marker, but anytime you see a grammar form that uses this after a verb, it's future tense. Every time. Oh, who just gave a donation? David D. MX? MX, what is MX? All these currencies I've never heard about. MX, Malaysian X-Men. What is MX? David D. Thanks, David. I have to know what MX means. Let's see, for Mexican dollars? Mexican dollars? How much is 20 Mexican dollars? Because I want to say thank you appropriately, but thank you. Either way, thank you. It could be 1 cent. It could be $1. It could be $20. Thank you. I was like crying because not really crying, but I spent like, what is it? I calculated about $350 I spent to get a new backdrop system, which you guys will see in action when season 2 starts. How would you use ket and when urkoshida to express the future? Oh, Duke Fleet. I actually have a video on that very topic in my Learn Korean series on future forms. I talk about those 2 exact forms. It's like $1. Oh, awesome. 20 Mexican is like $1 US. That's cool. That's cool. When does season 2 start? Season 2 starts, I think January 13th. So yeah, anytime you see this, like for example, 하다 becoming 할, or 먹다 become 먹을, right? Anytime you see this or this directly attached to a verb stem, it means future. Always. This is actually a feature of the future tense. So anytime you see these, it means it's actually future in some way. It doesn't mean that the whole sentence is future tense, but it means the form itself is talking about the future. And in the same way, anytime you see a verb stem ending with these, so the nian, this letter, or un, so like 하다 would become 한, 먹다 would become 먹은. It is past tense, always. Past tense. So, and then also in the same vein, anytime you see 는 or un, it's present. Specifically though, this nian being past is with action verbs. Action verbs only. If you see it with a descriptive verb or some other types of verbs, this one can also be part of the present tense, which is why the easiest one to learn is this one, because it's always future. These two are always future. But this nian, just the nian, can sometimes be part of the present tense if the verb stem ends with a vowel. But anyway, 는, present tense, un, past tense, these two, future tense, always. So it's just something to kind of think about. If you're wondering, oh, is this talking about the future tense or the past tense? Past, future, present, like that. How would you recommend getting past Korean people snickering when you try speaking Korean? Gamer Lou, stop being so cute. I think Koreans probably just think you're cute. Like, you sound cute. It's not so much of an insult as much as it is like, that guy sounds cute when he's speaking Korean. So that people take that as insulting, but really they're just surprised. But yeah, get better friends is another way. As you get better at Korean, they could also be snickering that your pronunciation sounds funny. It's not mocking you. It's not like ha 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 ha, that loser doesn't speak Korean properly. It's never that. It's more like, wow, he speaks Korean, but it sounds funny. It could be that. Or it could be, oh, his voice sounds so cute, or something like that. Or a girl, her voice sounds so cute speaking in Korean. But it's not an insult. But if you don't like that, get better. Specifically improving your pronunciation, that will usually take care of it. I haven't had people laugh at me when I speak Korean, except in a few cases where I've heard some people like snickering. They were snickering because they thought they had spoken to me they had spoken with me in English for like a full hour, and then we suddenly switched to Korean, and they're like laughing. They're like, "You could speak Korean this whole time?" Kind of like that, and they're like snickering at me. But yeah. If they keep laughing though, if they keep doing it, you can tell them to stop or get better friends. Like Psychotic One said. Giorgio, Siofa, you said, 일본어를 잘하시니까. Well, the thing is, I'm not good enough at Japanese to teach it. My Japanese ability is like understanding. I'm actually pretty good at understanding. I can watch TV shows without subtitles and get most of it. So I'm good enough to not need subtitles for watching Japanese TV shows and movies, which is actually quite high of a level. But as far as speaking goes, my speaking used to be quite good. Now it's like intermediate at best. So I wouldn't be confident enough to teach Japanese like I am in Korean. Whereas Korean, I can just, oh, I know this and this. Japanese, it's not like that. I'm not as confident in Japanese. So I wouldn't want to do a channel unless I could actually do it well. That's the same reason I'm not going to try to write a Japanese made simple book, because I'm not confident enough in the language to do that. I don't think it would be really honest of me to do that. It's my mother-in-law snickering. There's nothing you can do. Get a better mother-in-law. Just get better at Korean and it'll stop. Pronunciation. Basically, get good. Yeah, I also have a video about pronunciation tips. You can check it out. I have 2 videos about pronunciation. One of them I made with just general tips. So check that one out. Batman said he couldn't read the Quran, not Korean. Did Batman say something about that? Swear to me. Swear on the Quran. More practice is better. I had to stumble my way for a long time. Yeah, more practice is always better. Can you explain 어떻게? I'm so confused. I heard it can mean really, and then it also means like this. But I don't... Alexandra, hey! It only means how. Literally, it only means how, as in what way? Like how? How? Like that. It doesn't mean how is it? It's an adverb that can be attached to verbs. So it is attached directly to another verb. It's not used by itself unless you just want to say the word how. Like how? How did you do that? Like that. It's always used together with a verb, but it just means how. But in English translations, depending on who's translating or what they feel like, there could be different ways that it translates in English to sound natural in English, but the Korean meaning of it is never changing. William Kelly, besides Korean and Japanese, what languages are you learning or want to learn? I'm not learning any other languages right now. And after starting my YouTube channel, I became really satisfied that I'm only good at Korean. Like, I used to be interested in learning Mandarin and Cantonese, especially Cantonese. I had a lot of fun with that, as well as French, and I've done Japanese, and I still love being able to speak some Japanese. But after starting my channel, I felt like, okay, I can do something good. I can teach Korean. Like, I'm satisfied with this. I don't need to do any other languages. So right now, nothing else. If I were to learn another language, I would go back and relearn more Japanese. That's what I would do. 그렇군요. 안 되는데. 그래도 감사합니다. Yeah. I'm sorry, Giorgio. Get better at Korean pronunciation though, and that will definitely stop. But you know how mother-in-laws can be. So there's nothing you can do about that. What do you think about jobs for foreigners in Korea? If you're living in Korea already, you have many options. But if you're not already living in Korea, your best bet is only teaching English in an academy, like an after-school type of, like a classroom. Sorry, I think it was supposed to be 면 좋겠어. Oh, I see. Safia. Yes. Oh, in that case, then, yeah, no, the reason I wanted to ask is because those forms are completely unrelated. So I was curious what would make you think those two forms are the same. But now I see you've written that. That makes a little more sense. 좋겠다. This is the form, which literally means, and you put this with a verb. So verb, any verb, action or descriptive. 면, so after a consonant, or just 면 after a vowel. And you do 좋겠다, and you conjugate this. So it might be 좋겠어요, or 좋겠습니다, or something like that. And the 좋겠다 means would, not will be, but 겠다 actually here means would be, so would be good. So literally this form means it would be good if verb. So if the verb is cold, 추우면, if it's cold, 추우면 좋겠어요. It would be good if it's cold. Literally, I'm just talking about the literal meaning. Or 하면, if you do it, 좋겠어요. It would be good if you do it. But this is used to mean I hope or I wish. So Koreans can say I hope for something or I wish something, not like I truly wish for it. No, just like I wish. I really wish that would happen, like that, right? Just like expressing a casual sort of wish or casual hope. There are other ways to say that you actually truly wish for something or I truly hope for that, but that's not what we're talking about here. This is the more standard way of just people saying, oh, I really wish it would snow. 눈이 오면, snow, 눈 오면 좋겠어요. It would be good if it snows. Literally, it would be good if it snows. Or I hope it snows, like that. So that's all it is. Just hope or wish is how it's used. Billy, at what point in your studies did you realize, wow, I actually understand Korean. I have succeeded. That was after, actually, that wasn't very long. I think that was maybe after studying Korean for about 7 months or so. At that point, I realized I could say everything I wanted to say, though not in the way that I wanted to say it at all, because I was probably intermediate level then. But I realized, like, wow, I can actually speak Korean. Like, I can actually understand people. Like my friends who weren't making any sense before. Now I can actually kind of understand what my friends are saying. And I can say a lot of the things that I want to say to them. So that was probably the first time I actually had that realization. I remember I was walking home and just suddenly thought that to myself. I'm like, you know what? I can say like most of the things I want to say now. But it wasn't until much longer when I could actually feel like, wow, I can actually say like anything I want in any way that I want, mostly, for the most part. That was after maybe 2-3 years. Let's see. Oh, is there any difference between 면 좋겠다 and the past form 좋겠다? Yes, there is. Nano drawings. The past form is simply stronger. Is simply more emphasis. And as far as literal meanings, I mean, grammatically, they're both the same. You can use either one. But yeah, shows more emphasis on it, and it tends to be a little more common actually used in the past tense. Oh, let's see. I just got a donation. Who is that? Asprey Jones. $5. Oh, finally a currency that I can understand. A currency I can understand. Asprey Jones, thank you. Yeah, all the upgrades I made to the live stream, pretty much more money that I've made. I mean, I've spent more on everything I use for these live streams that I've made. I just want you guys to know that these live streams are really for you. They're not to generate a profit for me at all. I really just do them for you guys. So I'm actually really happy that you guys showed up today because I wasn't thinking that anyone would come today because it's an impromptu live stream. Let's see. Can you please talk about compound verbs? Christina Yang, can you give me an example of what you mean? Maybe I could talk about those. Hola, orale, debes de dar curso intensivos desde nivel uno. I don't know. I don't speak Spanish. Sorry. No hablo español. I'm on 2 years and 2 months. I'm starting to feel like that, but I have a long way to go. Yeah. And it all depends how you're studying. So you could be studying for years, like 5 years. I knew a guy who had studied Korean for 5 years, but still couldn't have conversations. And his girlfriend was a Korean as well. He'd been dating her for like 4 years. And it happens when people don't have curriculums, they don't have any guidance, and they're not studying Korean very hard, or, relative not studying very hard. Oh, Bisaromi. Bisaromi. Awesome. Oh, I have to ask, are you guys hearing a notification sound when the donations come in? Because I think I tried to fix it. I don't know if I fixed it though. But Bisaromi. Every time I see your name, Bisaromi, I think of Rice Aroni. Is that on purpose? Let's see. Happy New Year, Billy. Keep up the great work. Very excited for what 2019 brings. Nope. Yes. Some people say nope. Some people say yes. Yes. Okay, cool. Yay, it means I fixed it. Okay, because there was a problem where there were no notification sounds. Some people say they hear a ring. Yeah, it's faint, but there should be something. Okay, I'll try to make the sound louder then. Maybe it's working, but not on purpose, but I like your thinking. Yeah, I always think of Rice Aroni. And then there's the villager face. I think that's the villager, right? I wish I had a 24/7 Korean teacher right now. Yeah, you and me, buddy. I wish I had a 24/7 Korean teacher when I was learning. I still want a 24/7 Korean teacher. I sometimes have Korean questions myself too. But the difference is that I can now find the answers myself because I can search on Korea's Google, Naver, and I can find anything I want for myself. So sometimes I'll be like, oh, I wonder what the differences between these two vocabulary words are. It'll be some, random advanced vocabulary. And I'll just search on Naver and find other people ask that and the answers. So let's see. I'm in that boat. My wife's Korean. I've been studying for over 5 years, but work constantly gets in the way. So pushing in an intermediate. David Hodgson, are you able to have like conversations in Korean though? Because if so, I mean, that's good. I'd say a lot of people don't even get to that point where they can even have conversations. Why does 같아요 sometimes sound like 같아요? Oh, that's good. Good question. So the 같아요 comes from 같다, to be similar. Oh, I got two. I got two at the same time. Two donations. The board's like flickering, was like flickering two different colors. CM Lady. CM Lady. CM Lady. I didn't see you comment. Thank you. CM Lady. 1117. Well, that's a very specific number. Why is it 1117? Did it convert from another currency? CM Lady, thank you. I really appreciate it. All of this is going back into the live streams. I promise. I've already ordered like a $80 green screen that we're going to be using for the future. And and Blood Falcon 2K7 with your Canadian money. Blood Falcon 2K7 sounds like an Xbox title or something. Okay, so someone had asked, thank you both of you guys, or girls. I'm not sure. Both of yous. You too. Let's see here. 나중에 scroll down a bit. What does 역시 mean? 나도. I'm becoming the type of person that responds in English when spoken Korean. Billy getting paid. Dollar bills, y'all. Okay, so someone asked, why does 같아요 sound like 같아요? In fact, most of the time, this 같아 or 같아요 from 같다, like used for saying I think. And I did a live stream about this, so if you're wondering how to use this, check out my live streams. It's most often pronounced as 같아요, not as how it should be. Sound change rules say this would be pronounced as 같아요, right? This goes up here, 같아요. But it's actually most often said as 같아요. What this is actually dialect. Specifically, 경기도. Gyeonggi-do is the area around Seoul, but doesn't actually include Seoul. So Seoul is not actually included in this technically, but Gyeonggi-do is that area, that whole region around Seoul, and they do it in Seoul too. And it's actually a regional dialect that's so popular, you'll hear it everywhere in Korea. So people will actually say it's 같아, 같아요. But when they write it, they only write it as 같아요. Some people might write it as 같아요 like this, 같아요. This is incorrect, but you might see this in chat sometimes for people who don't know that that's incorrect. They still normally write it 같아요. They just pronounce it as 같아요. So that's something that you'll see. But it's a dialect that everyone uses. So it's become kind of a feature of regular casual Korean speech. And there are many examples of that. 바라다. 바라다 means to hope or to wish. And this is a verb that directly means to hope for something. And it's often used in letters, like people might say, oh, I hope that everything goes well. I hope that hope that you score well on your test. And they'll say something 기를 or 길, like I hope that you succeed, 잘 되기를, something 길. And then 바라요 is what it should be, 바라요, I hope. But Koreans will actually say 바래, 바래요, or just 바래, however polite they're being. But it's supposed to be 바라요. There's no reason for it to change to 바래, but everybody says 바래 and even writes it as 바래. So it's also another inaccurate thing that just became more popular. It's a dialect. It's a regional dialect. It's part of the same thing. But it's so popular that you'll hear 바래 and you'll never hear 바라. 바라 just sounds too formal. But when you're writing, it's supposed to be 바라다, 바라요. So there's more examples of this as well. Let me think of another one that's really common. I just had one actually in my head. Let's see. If I think of it again, I'll tell you. But anyway, there's a lot of these where that's not the correct way to do it, but everyone does it that way. So that's how you'll always see it, even though it's technically wrong. Oh yeah. So the regular way to conjugate the yul form, right, either involves adding a or adding all or something else, right? If it's hada, it might be he. There's other exceptions like that. But typically adding a or adding all, and then maybe combining it or something like that. Instead, there's another common local dialect thing, which actually has become so common, is just using this one. So kind of reversing. So even if it should have an ah, instead using an all sound. So you, instead of having, for example, 아프다 would normally become 아파요. 아파요. Koreans might say, so if you might say, oh, 아파요, like, oh, my body hurts, my head hurts. Koreans will often switch it. A lot of these normal endings that have ah will get switched. So they'll say 아파. 아파. Another example is 많아요. Like, oh, there's a lot of them. 많아요. 진짜 많아. Koreans will switch 많아. 많어. 진짜 많어. There's a lot of these like this where they'll switch it. You can't do this with any verb. It's just some common verbs that they do this with. And it's another common dialect slang that just became really popular. And it's still considered wrong. So you don't want to write this unless you're trying to be cute. But you will hear this often. So just know that it's wrong, but it's a casual slang. So there's your dialect lesson for today. This is a common dialect that a lot of people use. And it didn't take over, so it's not really like a dialect in that everyone in the region speaks like that. It's just sometimes you'll hear that. Oh, CM Lady. Did I just miss the light notification? CM Lady, awesome. Oh, I gotta write that in a different color. CM Lady, new member. Awesome, thank you. Welcome to the family. I gotta do some more member posts on my community tab though for you guys. Oh, now it comes in. There we go. It was a little bit delayed. Awesome, thank you. Let's see. It's just what does 역시 mean? Oh, I see. Okay, I think you'd asked that before. 역시. It's just an adverb. It's an adverb. So that means it usually will go right before a verb. Or in this case, 역시 is an adverb, but it's often used simply as a word. As expected. Right? Like as you'd say, just as expected. Just as expected. Or just as I expected. 역시. I knew it. I knew it. 역시. 역시, and then you say the sentence you want to say, like, oh, I knew it. I knew you had studied Korean a long time. That's why you can speak it. Or I knew it. I knew you could speak some Korean. You were pretending like you couldn't. 역시. Like that. It just means as expected. And it's an adverb, but it's often used as just kind of like a phrase or a word. If you just use it by itself, though, it's casual. So you wouldn't want to say 역시 to your boss or to strangers or something like that. But yeah, it's fine. It's just a regular adverb, means as you expected. Billy, do you teach your son Korean through your books? No, I actually teach him Korean by simply speaking with him in a lot of Korean. And if he doesn't know a word, explaining to him what the word means in Korean. So yeah, just like because he's a baby, so he can learn like that. Adults can't quite learn that way though. What's the difference between 쉽도 and 쉽다? Oh, 쉽도 doesn't exist. Ariel Roberts. 쉽도, I'm not sure what you're talking about for that. There is no 쉽도, as far as I know. How would you say about? Like I read a story about. Oh, I think I did a lesson. About that. Did I do a live stream about how to say about? Maybe not. So you have whatever it is about first. So let's say noun. And then, that's right. I have a Learn Korean video about how to say about. So check that out. And then if you're using it as an adverb, which means it comes before a verb, so a verb would come after, then use 대해. And if you're using it as an adjective, which means IVE, then it would be followed by a noun. So you'd use 에테해 and then a verb, or 에테한 and then you'd use a noun. Typically, it doesn't necessarily mean it has to be followed by a noun or a verb, but that means this is used as an adjective and this is being used as an adverb. So 에테해 is used as an adverb, 에테한 is used as an adjective. So that's how you say about. So if you wanted to say like, someone asked, I read a story about, then you'd use 에테한 책, right? I read a book about. Since it's being used as an adjective, you're saying a book that is about. Well, you're saying book here, so it's a noun, so it's used as an adjective. So 에 대한, and then you would say, whatever the book's about. So I read a book about Korea, 한국. 한국에 대한 책, a book that's about Korea. Or you can just say, I read about Korea, but you're not saying I read something. You don't need an adjective. You just want an adverb. I read about Korea. Then you can just say, 한국에 대해. Then 읽었어요. I read. 읽었어요. With the verb 읽다, to read. So that's how you do it. It's pretty easy. Dang, I still have 199 viewers in here. This is crazy. I was thinking you guys would take off. Jean Park, parayo sounds awkward. Yes, it does. It sounds awkward to Koreans. Despite being the correct way, it's so awkward sounding. Like, if you write pareo, Koreans might correct you. Oh, this is actually wrong. You should write para. Wait, that sounds weird. So Koreans know that it sounds awkward to use the correct way. Apa and apa taught in the same lesson. Yes, apa so that's the incorrect one, apa, but it's used in speech a lot. Same with kate. Why is Jenin and Ninen? Yesenia Salinas. First of all, you don't want to use romanization. It's very bad. So that's going to cause you a lot of problems. I recommend switching as fast as possible to using the Korean alphabet. But you're just asking what the difference is between 저 or na for I. They both mean I. 저 is polite, and na is only casual. And I did a lesson about this too, so I'm not going to go in depth right now. But casual means you can only use it to your close friends. So they have to be close with you. They can't just be acquaintances. Close friends plus the age is the same as you or lower than you. You cannot use it to a friend who's older than you. So there's exceptions for this, but those exceptions are not going to be useful to you until you get to a fluent level in Korean. So only use na for close friends who are the same age as you or younger. Everyone else, 저. So 저는 or 제가, like that. And 나는, 내가, like that. Are these live streams uploaded? Yes, they are all uploaded. All of them have been uploaded and are free to view. Is 괜찮네요 the same as 괜찮아요? My friend says it this way. He says it's this way because of his dialect. His friend, it's not a dialect. That's regular Korean. 괜찮네요 and 괜찮아요, those are different. It's not a dialect though. The Kylie Kim, that's just the 괜찮다 verb plus the 네요 ending, which indicates surprise, like the emotion of like wow, right? Like wow, or oh, like that, right? So that's like you're saying, oh, it's okay, or wow, that's okay. Like, yeah, that's okay. We add that too. Yeah. Kind of like, a little bit of surprise. It's not strong surprise, but it's like saying, yeah, that's okay. Like, yeah, oh, okay, like that. So it just shows surprise. And I did a live stream about this also. So check out my live stream playlist. You'll see it in the title. But yeah, that one's not dialect. Is 되게 interchangeable? Oh yeah, LL Viper. I did a lesson about, this is one of the forms that I cover in my upcoming lesson about how to say really in Korean. It talks about 정말 and 진짜, 되게, all of those forms. Like there's like 14 of them or something. It's a really long video. But no, it's not interchangeable. 되게 is a casual word only. So you can only use it for casual speech with your friends, for example. It doesn't sound polite at all. But 되게 is more of a greatly, like crazily kind of amount. Whereas 정말 just means really, and 진짜 has a few different uses. 진짜 can also be used as an adverb to mean like a real something, like legitimate something, whereas you can't use the other ones to mean legitimate. So, and I have a video that explains all of that, so I'll save it for that video. Did you use Anki when studying Korean? No. I've used Anki before though. I used it when I was studying Cantonese as well as Mandarin before. I've used it for reviewing some Korean vocabulary that I got from a novel that I was reading. But no, I didn't use it for studying Korean. But it's a really good app. And if you don't want to use flashcards, because I like flashcards, but if you don't want to use paper flashcards, use Anki. It's a really good app. How long does it take you to make abridged versions of your videos? I'll say about four hours. 4 hours to edit each one. Can you explain the meaning of ashipta? Abigail Brooks, ashipta. Yeah, that just means something's it's too bad. Like something you feel too bad about something. As in, something's too bad. It's not good enough. 아쉽다. Missed something. Yeah. So something's not enough. Something's too bad. 아쉽다. And I actually did a different lesson that I talk about these. These are also in my books as well. But yeah, it's nothing really complicated. 아쉽다. How much longer will this stream be? Maybe I should stop. Originally, I said 1 hour, and it's been 1 hour and 40 minutes already. But I didn't stop it yet because most of you guys stuck around. So I was like, oh, you guys want the lesson. I'll keep going. Okay, I'll finish up soon, though, so I'll only take a few more questions. Why do people pronounce 보고 싶다 with a O sound? Ariel Roberts, what do you mean an O sound? Where is the O sound? M asked, what is the difference between meat and are? Oh, I made a new video about that. Let me check if I don't know if I uploaded it yet or not. I made a new video about the difference between meat and are, but I'm not sure when I'm uploading that. Let me see. Okay, no, that one's not going to get uploaded till February. Meat and are, they're kind of funny because they both mean under. I'll give you guys a quick overview of them, but I made a full lesson about that, which will come out in February, the first week of February. Meat and are both mean under. So if you're talking about physically under, both are equally interchangeable. There are some cases where you can't use one or the other, but it's not when it's being used to mean physically. And then literally, what do meat and are mean? So both of them can mean physically under. Like if you want to say under the bridge, you can use meet tari, means bridge. So you can say tari meet or tari are, under the bridge. Literally though, meet means that something is below something. And are, like simply below that level. And are means it's underneath the level of something. So it's below something's level. So you can think of this as meaning as meet means under and are means below a level, like relative to something. I gave better examples in the video, but I don't remember the examples that I gave in the video. But basically, as far as usages, there are some cases where you use one or the other, and I'll talk about that in the video. But if you're just saying under something, under an object, both of them are fine. Both of them in every situation. And some Koreans might say, oh, this one, it sounds better to say this. If they're talking about under physically, either was okay. If you're talking about under as in like, please see below this web page, then it's only are. Or if you're talking about like, see, like it's at the foot of the mountain or it's under the mountain, then you have to use meet. But those are different usages from actually saying under something. So if you just want to say it's under something, like under the table, under the floor, whatever, either of them is okay. And then in my video, video is like 10 minutes long because it's actually quite there's a few things to talk about. But there are some differences in usage. But when you're talking about under something physically, both of them have the same meaning. Yeah, and the song we are, it's not we are, it's we, which is under and below. That has a specific meaning for are. That doesn't mean below. It means something else. Maybe I could do that. I could talk about like Korean and K-pop songs and stuff like that. Specifically, are and meet have different meanings when you're talking about a body. If you're talking about someone's body, are just means below a certain area. And then we is just the regular word for above. So yeah, the song we are, I think it's called we are in Korean, whatever. They're talking about 위 as in chest, above the chest, and 아래 as in below the waist. So go ahead and interpret that however your mind takes you, and you're probably correct. 화이팅 is a second-hand English loan that literally means fighting. Yes, it's a second-hand English loan word. That's right. 하나도 and 전혀, the same. No, 하나도 means not even one. Literally means not even one. But it does also have the usage of not at all. 하나도. But 전혀 is also to an extent. So 하나도 would have to mean you're talking about some sort of amount, an amount of something because it's a number. Whereas 전혀 doesn't have to be an amount. It can be any sort of extent of something. So I know that's kind of weird distinction, but you can use both of them to mean not at all. Korean slang like your, this means like ear, yeah. Wow, or something like something. Yeah. Can you pronounce taekwondo? I'm really confused. Okay, I'm going to take like 2 more sentences and then I'm going to stop for today. I'm really confused when forming sentences with 알다. Giorgio, what do you mean? What if I don't want to use 는지? I don't quite understand the question. Why do Americans insist on mispronouncing it? Because it was written in English as taekwondo, romanized. It's not Americans' fault for saying it wrong. It's Romanization's fault for writing it as taekwondo. So of course people are going to see this and say taekwondo because they didn't Romanize. You can't Romanize Korean accurately. It should never be Romanized, but if you want people to be able to read it in English, you have to write it somehow. And that's just what happened, is it just got Romanized like this. That's also what happened to Korean last names. Like, why are the last names Lee and Park used? That's a story for another day. Oh, 52 bunker. 52 bunker. 5 pounds. 52 bunker. Why, when playing sports with people you don't know, would you still use polite speech? It seems weird to shout, "Pass me the ball, please." That's stranger. Yes, you would still be polite, but you don't have to use the 주세요 form. So that's a good question. So you're thinking like, do I have to say like, 일로 주세요. Please give me the ball this way. No, you don't have to use it. You can use the standard 요 form. Can also be used to mean please. So I bet you didn't know this. You don't have to attach 주세요 to a conjugated verb to say, please do something for me. For example, you can say 해요, right? The regular form, like I do it. 해요, or 가요, I go. You can also just say 해요, do it. It also means do it exactly the same way. 해요, I do it. 해요, do it, please. But if you attach the 요, at least it's kind of polite. So using a command with just the 요 form, and if I do a live stream about commands, which we didn't get to, but that was one of the options, I would have covered this as well. But you can just make a command by just making the regular yo form and telling it to them as a command. And it's polite. It doesn't mean like, please do this for me, but it's not rude. It's like, hey, do this, pass it to me, give me this, eat that, try that, look here, like that. It's polite though. So any regular verb with the yo form can also be used as a command. It's still polite though, as long as you have the yo. If you remove the yo, it can also be a command too, but now it's not polite anymore. Now it's only casual. So because this doesn't have 주세요 or any other form for being polite, you wouldn't want to use this to your boss or like a coworker or a stranger or a new acquaintance. But for friends who are slightly older than you, yeah, 해요, 가요, like you don't have to say 하세요 or 해주세요 or anything like that. Always the same people donating. I have no complaints. I appreciate it either way. I like to see new people, of course, but Ahimang, nobody tells me anything. Welcome, so nice of you to join us, Ahimang. No, I'm just joking. This was a completely impromptu stream. And no one really knew I was doing this stream today anyway. if you have a shiot at the bottom of a combination, yes, it is. Jimin stole my gems. That's right. It is pronounced as this letter. At the bottom becomes pronounced as this. If you Romanize that, it'd be like a T or a D, but it's this sound. My friend once told me to say "E Pablo" with my name. It was funny. Yeah, that just means I'm or you're stupid, basically. Kamsa in texting can be used. Yes, Stephanie Valdivia. Those two letters in texting. So you wrote, in texting, you'll see some. There's a lot of these. There's some more that I won't write because there's swears. This one is kamsa. So these are all casual. It doesn't mean kamsa. Hamnida, it just means kamsa. Like if you were to write THX, right? This means, of course, it means thank you, but it's just an abbreviation for thanks. So same here, kamsa is just a slang way to say thanks. These letters are 죄송. This is like oops. Or my bad, right? So casual way to say sorry. Of course, it's just LOL. And is also like LOL or LEL or something like that, or ha 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 ha, right? Like that. So these are two common ones you'll see. And there's other ones that are swears. I'm not going to teach them here, but you'll see those. So often people will abbreviate two letters. So if you see two letters together, try to think of what word it might be an abbreviation for. Let's see. Did you think about teaching English? Yeah, I taught English when I lived in Korea. And I liked doing it. It was fun. 한국에 언제 다시 가세요? Giorgio, I'll be there in spring. Yeah, I'll be there again in spring. Why do some colors have verb forms but others don't? Like red and blue have verb forms but green and orange don't. The real reason is because some of those words were imported. Like the word orange, for example, it came in through Chinese originally. There was no word for orange, I believe. It was just yellow red is what they would say in Chinese. And that word came into Korean as well, but they don't use it anymore. I think it was I'm trying to remember. There's a Chinese word, Sino-Korean word for orange, but it's not used. It was like red, orange. It was like red, yellow or something like that. And that's all they would use. And same in English, originally the word orange for orange didn't exist. They would just say yellow, red was the color. So some of those colors might have come in as imported from other words, especially when the orange fruit came into Korea, because the orange fruit doesn't naturally exist. The oranges, in fact, all of citrus fruits, were created by people. We made them through genetically splicing, what do you call that? Grafting different citrus fruits together, like lemons, oranges, limes, grapefruits. All of that stuff doesn't naturally occur in nature. They were created through, splicing things together, for grafting fruits together, long time ago. So when the orange came to Korea, they would have just, the color of it at that time didn't really exist. They didn't say, oh, this is orange color. It's like, this is yellow, red color. And then later they got the color orange, which, orenji, pretty much. And so that's kind of the reason you might hear different words like, oh, Korean has a verb form for this, but not for this. Well, the reason is some words came in through Chinese, and those are the words that they used in Korean. So Korean has some colors, but not every color in native Korean, in pure Korean. So you might see, like, for example, 노랗다 for yellow. Korean has the color for yellow. But then you might hear another, if you want to say pink, 분홍색, right? You might think, why doesn't Korean have a color for pink? They probably didn't have anything they needed to describe with that color because, it's an artificial color, right? What is pink? Well, you might say the trees are pink, but no, Korean, they might say the trees are red right? Or they might say the trees are yellow color or red and yellow. They didn't really have a need for pink. In fact, the word pink is Chinese. That means, sorry, that's typo. Sek. The word for pink actually comes from Sino-Korean. So it's Chinese. It means light. Pun is a light. Red. Hong is red. And sek is color. So this literally just means like a light, like a blush red color. So it doesn't mean pink by itself. This just means the light red color. And they would have had a different color for orange, which would mean yellow red color, right? Or they have different colors that come from Chinese like that. And now Korean, though, people say pink sek, which means pink. But if you say something is pink sek, it means an artificial pink. It doesn't mean a natural pink. So sometimes people might prefer 분홍색 for something natural and 핑크색 for something artificial. Like if you buy a pen and it's pink color, they're not going to say 분홍색 for that pen color because it's plasticky and pinky. They're just going to say 핑크색. It's pink. Same with like blue. Blue, right? Koreans might just use the English word blue for talking about something that's manufactured, man-made blue color, and not the regular word for blue. You know, 파란색 or whatever. So it just depends on what things they were used to describe. And if there was already a common word in Sino-Korean that was used for a color, they didn't make another Korean color for it. They just used that. You know, they used whatever they had. They didn't need to make a new color if they already had a word to describe that color. Just like in English, we just say orange. Orange is the name of the fruit, right? So why do we need another color for it? It's good enough. You know, it's this fruit color. In fact, Korean kind of did something like that too. So how do you describe the color of someone's skin in English? What do you say? In English, we might say something like his skin is, you know, tan or light tan or maybe a pinkish color or skin color. Well, in Korean, you know how we say orange for the color of an orange. Anything that's orange colored, we just call it orange. Well, in Korean, they have the word 살구, which actually means apricot. Because Korea had apricots. What's the color of an apricot? Well, it's kind of like a pinkish yellow, right? Sometimes light red, but pinkish yellow. So Koreans would make 살구색, apricot color. And that was how they describe and still describe the color of skin. So actually in Korean, they say he has apricot, his skin is apricot color. Specifically, this is used kind of to describe the Asian skin color. They might not use 살구색 for a foreigner or like, you know, a white person or black person. This would be for like the type of light Korean skin, you know, a little bit different than American type of white skin. But this is what they use for that color. 살구색, for apricot color, literally. So just whatever colors whatever things are convenient for them, that's what they use. So if you say 살구색, they're not going to think of apricot color. They just think, oh, that's just skin color. Kind of like you hear orange, you don't think of the fruit orange, you just think of the color orange, right? Same thing here. Yeah, skin tone or nude. That's right, yeah. If your skin is pink, you may have a problem on your hand. Yes, or if you're like squeezing your hand really hard, you know, then I guess then it would turn white because all the blood would go away. 계속, 자주 mean the same thing? No, they're different. They're very different. Maybe we'll do that as the last question for today. Okay, last question for today. Neil Hyung asked, are 계속 and 자주 the same thing? And then we'll stop for today because, you know, I don't want to go on too long. So 계속 and 자주. Oh, wait, that's too easy. Okay, 계속 is to keep doing something. Okay, both of these are adverb. So that means they come before a verb. And 계속 means that you keep doing something. Literally, 계속 means continually. Continually do something. But in natural English translation, it translates better to keep. Like to keep going, to keep doing it, to keep studying, to keep working hard. 자주 just means often. But you didn't ask, and I know you didn't ask this. So these are completely different. I know you didn't ask this, but there's another word that I think you should also compare it with. 자꾸. 자꾸 is another word you might see that also means continually. But I think a better translation for this, 자꾸, is like, what's that word? Incessantly? I think that's the word. I'm just guessing right now. Is incessantly the right English word? Let me see what incessantly means. Incessantly. Yes. Constantly. Yes, incessantly. Constantly. As in, if someone says they're constantly doing something, it's usually negative, right? Usually is used in a negative way, like, oh, he's constantly bothering me. I think it's going off the screen there. Okay, this is like barely on the screen. Okay, so constantly in a negative sense. So if you wanted to say someone keeps doing something, and you're like, oh, he keeps working hard, he keeps studying Korean, use this. If you want to say, oh, he keeps bothering me, 자꾸 괴롭혀. 날 자꾸 괴롭혀. He keeps bothering me. He's constantly bothering me. This is in a negative sense, 자꾸. So if you want to describe someone that keeps doing something, and then you don't like it, then use 자꾸. Otherwise, use 계속. And 자주 just means often. Like he often does something. But they're different. Sam Strongarm. Thanks for the stream, Billy. Have a good new year. Thank you, and you as well. Let me put you up here as well. Sam Strongarm. Wait, that's the pound. Sam Strongarm. All right. Yes, thank you everyone for coming. Live streaming 계속해 주세요. Stitch, 오늘도 늦게 왔네. 다 끝났어, 이제. 끝났어. 너무 늦었어. It's too bad. This light is like never turning off. I think you broke it. Sam Strongarm, I think you broke the light. It's just stuck on right now. Uh-oh. Hold on, let me see if I can fix it. I was like, that's really long for staying up here. Wow, Jir. SEK. What is SEK? Oh, there's so many new currencies today I've never seen. Wow, Jahil. SEK. SEK 50. And it's still broken. Wow, Jay Heel, you're the best, Billy. Give me new energy to learn. You're welcome. Thanks for coming. And Sam Strongarm still broke my stream. Okay, I'm gonna send. I have a test thing I'm gonna send. So let me give this test signal and see if it fixes it. Okay, I sent the test. Okay, that's my test. My test, it flashes. Okay. No, it's still broken. Oh no. Yeah, strong arm. You just strong armed my whole system. You broke it. You broke it, man. Thank you. See, now no one can use it. Are you happy? All right. Thank you everyone for coming. I'm glad it broke at the end of the stream. 나 일찍부터 보고 있었어. 거짓말. 방금 왔잖아. 방금 들어왔잖아. 아까 안 보고 있었어. 말을 안 했길래. All right. Yeah. Thanks. Happy New Year to everybody. Thank you for giving me a wonderful year. 2018 was the best year for my channel. I grew from, I think I went from 85,000 subscribers to now I'm at over 170,000 subscribers. Even after the great YouTube purge where they deleted some fake subscribers, I guess. I didn't lose very many. So all of you guys are real. You're all real subscribers. So I more than doubled this year. I started doing live streaming this year. I released my new workbook this year. I got all new equipment this year. And next year I'm going to Korea again. I'm looking forward to another great year in 2019. Thank you guys for helping to make 2018 really special for me. And I hope that all of you can make some new New Year's, well, don't make New Year's resolutions, but I hope that you can make some goals, some better goals for 2019 and really improve all of your Korean. So thanks for coming. I'll see you guys next year. Haha. See you next year. It's like 2 days. So Happy New Year, everyone. Bye. Oh yeah. So thanks again to Irina Kovacevic, Muku, Ibrahim, David, Asprey Jones, Bisaromi, the San Francisco Treat, CM Lady, as well as becoming a member, Blood Falcon 2K7, 52 Bunker, Sam Strongarm for breaking my lights, and Wow, Jahil. Take care.